In the City of London, Transport for London (TfL) has implemented a prohibition on the majority of electric bikes being brought onto trains due to worries about the potential for batteries to catch fire. Meanwhile, Tesla has made the decision to remove the term full. In the City of London, Transport for London (TfL) has implemented a prohibition on the majority of electric bikes being brought onto trains due to worries about the potential for batteries to catch fire. Meanwhile, Tesla has made the decision to remove the term full self-driving (FSD) from the name of its driver assistance technology in the Chinese market. Additionally, former U.S. President Donald Trump has issued a warning to American automobile manufacturers, advising them against increasing their prices as a reaction to the imposition of tariffs. The Wall Street Journal has weighed in on this matter, suggesting that the implementation of tariffs is unlikely to lead to a significant surge in manufacturing activities within the United States.
A recent study has revealed that the dust found on Mars could potentially present health risks to humans who are planning to explore the red planet. In other news, NASA's Webb Space Telescope has successfully captured images of Neptune's auroras for the very first time. Additionally, a significant honor has been bestowed upon a Japanese mathematician who has been awarded the Abel Prize for his groundbreaking work in symmetry theory, which has provided a versatile mathematical framework for understanding the natural world.
Research indicates that individuals diagnosed with colon cancer face an increased likelihood of dying from heart-related causes. The FDA has granted approval for the first new category of oral antibiotics designed to treat uncomplicated urinary tract infections in almost 3 decades. Studies show that infants are capable of forming temporary memories.
Additionally, a groundbreaking development in nuclear technology has introduced a new radiocarbon-powered battery capable of functioning for thousands of years without the need for recharging. Furthermore, a significant achievement in quantum computing has been reached with the creation of a 56-qubit computer that can generate truly random numbers.
A tourist submarine has tragically sunk off the coast of Egypt, resulting in the deaths of 6 individuals and leaving 9 others injured, according to official reports. In Bolivia, a state of emergency has been declared following devastating floods that have claimed the lives of more than 50 people. Meanwhile, Myanmar has been hit by a powerful 7.7 magnitude earthquake, with the impact of the tremors being felt in neighboring Thailand.
Trump has decided to reinstate a program that monitors large-scale child abductions in Ukraine. Meanwhile, North Korea has reportedly dispatched additional thousands of troops and weapons to Russia, according to Seoul. Bloomberg provides commentary as the United States aims to manage investments in Ukraine, potentially sidelining European involvement. This comes as Putin suggests placing Ukraine under temporary United Nations control to facilitate elections, while Trump expresses interest in obtaining more of Kiev's rare minerals. However, the United States has declined Putin's proposal to remove Zelensky from power.
Potential backlash from Donald Trump. Additionally, the EU has urged Meta to separate its marketplace to address antitrust concerns. Meanwhile, Italy is seeking payment from Meta, X, and LinkedIn in a significant tax case. In other news, TikTok Shop is expanding its presence in Europe, though its future in the US remains uncertain. Pew Research has reported that fewer Americans now support banning TikTok, with fewer viewing it as a national security threat compared to spring 2023.
The authoritarian leader of Belarus has been sworn in for his 7th term, warning his critics that they have no future. Meanwhile, the chief of the Sudan army, al-Burhan, declared Khartoum is free following the capture of the airport. Additionally, Donald Trump has been discussing the establishment of a compensation fund for those involved in the January 6th riots.
Though tariffs. Meanwhile, Ursula von der Leyen assures that the EU will safeguard its interests following Trump's announcement of significant car tariffs. Additionally, Trump suggests a potential tariff reduction if China consents to a TikTok agreement. Flight reservations between Canada and the US have plummeted by 70% amid the ongoing Trump tariff conflict. Furthermore, Reuters indicates that the US has temporarily halted its financial contributions to the WTO, according to trade sources.
Japan has established a Joint Operations Command to integrate its 3 self-defense force branches, marking a shift towards a more offensive military strategy, as reported by China's PLA Daily. Meanwhile, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is promoting the development of AI-driven suicide drones and early warning aircraft. In the United States, the Space Force is in the process of creating an aircraft carrier designed for space operations. European military forces are developing a strategy spanning 5 to 10 years to potentially replace the United States within NATO. Meanwhile, NATO's Secretary-General, Jens Stoltenberg, emphasizes to both the US and Europe that this is not the time to go it alone. In Brussels, the European Union is urging its citizens to prepare a 72-hour emergency kit to be ready for potential crises. Additionally, Russia's foreign minister has stated that discussions with the United States are underway regarding the possibility of restarting the Nord Stream pipeline, with the aim of exerting influence over Europe.
OpenAI has introduced a new image generator for ChatGPT, which has sparked a celebration of Studio Ghibli's work. Meanwhile, Marvel has announced an expansive cast for the upcoming film Avengers: Doomsday. Additionally, Amazon has secured a deal for LeBron James' podcast titled Mind the Game.
OpenAI anticipates that its revenue will increase threefold, reaching $12.7 billion this year. According to a source, Microsoft has decided to halt its data center projects. As reported by TD Cowen, Bill Gates predicts that within the next decade, artificial intelligence will take over the roles of many doctors and teachers, suggesting that human involvement will not be necessary for most tasks.
In Israel, cyber officials have reported that attacks from Iran and Hezbollah have increased threefold since October 7. Meanwhile, Oracle has refuted claims of a breach after a hacker asserted the theft of 6 million data records. However, Oracle customers have confirmed that the data allegedly stolen in the cloud breach is indeed authentic. Additionally, Russia has documented cyber attacks targeting banking applications, mobile operators, and Lukoil.
In a groundbreaking medical procedure, surgeons have successfully implanted a liver from a genetically modified pig into a patient in China. Meanwhile, scientists have achieved a significant milestone in the fight against malaria by discovering a drug that renders human blood lethal to mosquitoes. Additionally, the bankruptcy of 23andMe has led to the potential auctioning of DNA information from 15 million users.
The CIA confirmed the existence of the Ark of the Covenant through remote viewing. Meanwhile, in Turkey, a protester dressed as Pikachu participated in large-scale demonstrations against the arrest of Erdogan's leading opponent. Additionally, in the UK, a ban on ninja swords is set to take effect by summer, with owners being offered compensation.
Declassified documents from 1994 reveal that global leaders were skeptical about North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-il, and referred to him as Goofy. Additionally, a court in Bosnia has issued an international arrest warrant for the Serb leader, Dodik. Meanwhile, Somalia has proposed granting the United States control over its strategically important ports.
In the United States, a significant portion of the national wealth is concentrated among a small group, with just half of the households possessing 97.5% of it. Meanwhile, the unemployment rate among Generation Z has surpassed 4 million, with experts attributing this to the perceived lack of value in college degrees and a system that fails to deliver on its promises, leading to an increase in the number of not in education, employment, or training, NEET individuals. Additionally, small businesses across the country are facing mounting revenue challenges, with inflation being the primary obstacle they must navigate.
The phenomenon of temperature-dependent hypoxia provides insight into the geographical distribution and intensity of the marine mass extinction that occurred at the end of the Permian period. The removal of waste from the brain has been shown to significantly enhance memory in mice as they age. There is an increasing trend in the number of oral cancer cases, and it is possible that the consumption of sugary beverages is contributing to this rise.
Kristi Noem was seen sporting a $60,000 Rolex Cosmograph Daytona watch during her visit to the notorious El Salvador prison. Additionally, at the El Salvador mega jail, a Trump official advised migrants, "Do not come." The AP reports that U.S. officials made efforts to visit residents in Greenland by going door to door, but they did not find anyone interested in meeting the Vances. Furthermore, Greenland has reportedly agreed to establish a comprehensive government, influenced by pressure from Trump, as stated by local media. Marco Rubio mentioned that the State Department has revoked over 300 student visas.
The UK climate protest group Just Stop Oil has announced that it will cease its direct action activities. In Washington, D.C., vandalizing Teslas is now considered a hate crime. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, is seeking to return a penalty that a mortgage lender paid to resolve allegations of racial discrimination.
H&M, a major clothing company, plans to employ digital twins created using AI for its models, ensuring that consent is obtained from the models. Meanwhile, OpenAI has reported that its graphics processing units, GPUs, are experiencing overheating issues, prompting the company to restrict the number of image generation requests made through ChatGPT. Additionally, Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, has highlighted DeepSeek as the new standard for measuring the success of Microsoft's artificial intelligence efforts.
Riek Machar, the leader of the opposition in South Sudan, has been taken into custody, raising concerns about the potential for a resurgence of civil conflict in the nation that is the youngest in the world. His party claims that the arrest of the vice president has brought an end to the peace agreement in South Sudan. Additionally, Hamas has reported that their spokesperson, Kanua, was killed in an airstrike carried out by Israel. Meanwhile, a court has decided that former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro will face trial on charges related to an attempted coup.
Taiwan is investigating China's leading chipmaker, SMIC, for allegedly recruiting staff from Taiwanese companies. Meanwhile, SMIC has announced that while its revenue is expected to increase in 2024, its net profits are projected to decrease significantly. Additionally, Reuters has reported that China's H3C has issued a warning about a potential shortage of NVIDIA AI chips due to a rapid rise in demand. Furthermore, MIT Technology Review has noted that China constructed numerous AI data centers to capitalize on the AI boom, but many of these facilities are currently not in use.
The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is set to reduce its workforce by 10,000 employees and shut down several agencies as part of a significant reorganization effort. Meanwhile, the Justice Department has put forward a proposal to combine the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, ATF, with the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, along with other substantial changes. Additionally, the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, has instructed its employees to refrain from referring to the agency as independent in any complaints filed.
Rule, imposing new price controls on overdraft services.
Gabbard mentions that Signal is already installed on government-issued devices. The White House has instructed employees of Doge to keep their Signal records intact. There has been a significant increase in Signal downloads in both the United States and Yemen following a government scandal.
Residents of Gaza are calling for the conclusion of Hamas's 18-year governance. Indications suggest that the United States is preparing B-2 Spirit bombers at Diego Garcia. The nominee for the U.S. Air Force position advocates for a comprehensive strategy involving drones to address challenges posed by mainland China.
The Sundance Institute has declared Boulder, Colorado, as the new location for the Sundance Film Festival, starting in 2027. A report indicates that Hollywood has yet to regain the jobs lost during the strikes. George Clooney's production of Good Night and Good Luck has set a new Broadway box office record with a weekly gross of $3.3 million.
Taiwan has successfully conducted its inaugural civil defense exercises as tensions with China continue to rise. According to a report by the South China Morning Post, BlackRock has sold a tower in Shanghai at a significant 34% discount, indicating a strategic retreat from the Chinese property market. Meanwhile, the Trump Organization is considering embarking on multi-billion-dollar ventures in Vietnam, despite the potential challenges posed by tariffs. Tencent and the Guillemot family are considering acquiring Ubisoft, the creator of Assassin's Creed, according to Bloomberg News. Additionally, Ubisoft is set to receive a $1.25 billion bailout from Tencent to facilitate the spin-off of its popular franchises, including Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six Siege. Meanwhile, Amazon Luna has entered into a multi-year agreement with EA to offer a wide range of games through its cloud gaming platform. In a different development, NVIDIA has introduced a gaming-focused AI chatbot that operates directly on your GPU, eliminating the need for cloud services. Facebook is reverting to its original focus by prioritizing posts from friends and family. Instacart is compensating shoppers for recording videos of store shelves. X has incorporated the Grok AI chatbot into Telegram. OpenAI has decided to implement the same standard used by its competitor, Anthropic, for linking AI models with data. In Australia, Earth AI has successfully identified 6 new mineral prospects containing tungsten, cobalt, and gold, utilizing predictive artificial intelligence technology. Meanwhile, Columbia University has taken the decision to suspend a student who developed an AI tool designed to assist individuals in cheating during coding interviews.
A judge has given the green light for the New York Times to proceed with its copyright lawsuit against OpenAI. Meanwhile, Europol anticipates a decrease in online piracy. Additionally, Dua Lipa has emerged victorious in a copyright dispute concerning melodies from a 1970s disco song. Marjorie Taylor Greene has accused PBS and NPR of indoctrinating children in advance of a congressional hearing, and she has also labeled these organizations as communist, advocating for the cessation of their funding. Additionally, the Anti-Defamation League has closed its primary anti-bias initiative. Furthermore, Trump has issued an executive order directing efforts to eradicate any improper, divisive, or anti-American ideologies from the Smithsonian, its museums, educational and research centers, and the National Zoo, mandating the removal of certain items concerning race and gender. In a related development, a Nature poll revealed that 75% of U.S. scientists surveyed are contemplating leaving their professions.
A Turkish court released an AFP journalist who was also detained during the same protests, according to the agency. The co-director of No Other Land claims that the U.S. Academy declined to release a statement supporting Hamdan Balo, stating that they remained silent when the filmmaker, whom they had previously honored, required their support the most.
Netflix has revealed its inaugural live-action adaptation of the beloved Scooby-Doo series. In a related development, FIFA has declared a historic prize pool of $1 billion for the Club World Cup scheduled for 2025. Additionally, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to be the keynote speaker at Mumbai's Waves 2025 summit, as India positions itself as a significant player in the global entertainment industry.
Meghan Markle is reportedly certain that her new business endeavors will propel her to billionaire status. Stephen Curry has collaborated with Michelle Obama to introduce a new sports drink. Lady Gaga has declared her plans for a 2025 Mayhem Ball tour across North America. Politico notes that Trump's supporters are beginning to recognize Pete Hegseth's increasing number of errors. Reason points out that Hegseth's recklessness and dishonesty resemble those of Hillary Clinton. The Wall Street Journal reports that Israeli officials have stated that Israel provided intelligence for an airstrike that was discussed in a Signal chat. The Trump administration labels the Atlantic's article about Signal as a hoax after it removes the war plan's language, while the Atlantic releases screenshots showing the timing and weapons used in the Yemen war plan Signal chat.
Trump is challenging California's prohibition on the mandatory disclosure of students' gender identities to their parents. In West Texas, some measles patients are exhibiting symptoms of vitamin A toxicity, prompting doctors to express worries about the spread of misinformation. Additionally, Nature has reported that the National Institutes of Health (NIH) in the United States plans to reduce funding for COVID-19 research, as indicated by internal documents.
In 2024, despite a decrease in profit margins, the cryptocurrency sector is on track to experience its most disastrous quarter in terms of hacking incidents, with a staggering $1.6 billion in losses, according to Immunifi.
In the United States, military personnel are set to begin monitoring activities along the border. The Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, plans to exchange information with the Department of Homeland Security to focus on immigrants who lack legal documentation. Additionally, the Trump administration is taking steps to reduce funding for initiatives aimed at combating child labor in foreign countries.
At an Arctic conference, Putin remarked that the United States is genuinely interested in Greenland, referencing Trump's previous intentions to acquire the territory. Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney declared that the traditional relationship with the United States has concluded. Additionally, Radio Free Europe reported that the Trump administration has withdrawn its order to terminate a grant.
TSMC's commitment of $100 billion to Donald Trump is unlikely to rejuvenate the U.S. chip-making industry, according to a former Intel executive. Meanwhile, Nikkei discusses TSMC's $165 billion expansion in the US, describing it as inevitable yet fraught with risks. In contrast, as NASA grapples with budget reductions, China unveils its ambitious plans for exploring other planets. Additionally, U.S. robotics firms are advocating for a national strategy, which includes establishing a central office, to effectively compete with China. The University of Michigan has shut down its Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion (DEI) office, terminating a significant financial investment in diversity initiatives. This decision comes amid reports that billions of dollars in federal funding could be jeopardized as President Trump calls for U.S. universities to adhere to his directives.
A Chinese scientist who faced exclusion due to his involvement in gene-edited babies is now aiming to make a return. Recent research indicates that the majority of early Europeans possessed dark skin, eyes, and hair until approximately 3,000 years ago. An ancient parasite employed a mechanism similar to that of a Venus flytrap to deposit eggs in its hosts.
J.D. Vance acknowledges that he initially didn't fully understand Trump's motivation for wanting Greenland. However, Vance argues that the United States needs to have control over Greenland to counter the threats posed by China and Russia. He suggests that Greenland should consider making an agreement with the U.S. Meanwhile, Putin dismisses Trump's interest in acquiring Greenland, stating it has no relevance to Russia. Vance also criticizes Denmark for not investing enough in Greenland, as Trump continues to advocate for the U.S. to take over the island. In response to Trump's pressure, Greenland's political parties have formed a wide-ranging coalition government. Trump confidently asserts to NBC News that the U.S. will definitely acquire Greenland, saying, "We'll get Greenland. Yeah, 100%.
Chinese authorities have temporarily suspended the sale of Panama Canal ports. Pentagon official Hegseth has announced that the U.S. military presence in Japan, described as "warrior," is being enhanced to serve as a deterrent against China, emphasizing Japan's crucial role in this strategy. Meanwhile, Greenland's prime minister has stated that the U.S. will not acquire the island. Axios has announced that the White House will now manage the seating arrangement in the briefing room. Additionally, White House correspondents have dismissed a comedian for making offensive remarks about MAGA on the Beast podcast. Meanwhile, Mike Huckabee, whom Trump has chosen as the ambassador to Israel, is attempting to separate himself from his previous statements regarding Palestinians. The Hill has criticized Huckabee, suggesting that his extreme views could lead to chaos in the Middle East.
A supercomputer has revealed the chaotic nature of hypersonic flows at Mach 16. In Beijing, a new X-ray light source has been constructed, boasting a brightness a trillion times greater than the sun. Additionally, a method has been developed to generate power by harnessing Earth's movement through its own magnetic field.
Turkey has detained a Swedish journalist on charges of insulting the president and terrorism. In the United States, private organizations are actively identifying and reporting student protesters, potentially leading to their deportation. Additionally, it has been reported that hundreds of international students received an email instructing them to self-deport due to their involvement in campus activism. In a confidential meeting, Vance and his leading advisors proposed that Trump remove Waltz, but Trump is reportedly reluctant to dismiss Waltz or others implicated in the Signal chat leak, according to officials. Meanwhile, Trump has mentioned he is contemplating options for a third presidential term, although he stated he doesn't wish to discuss it at present, despite numerous people urging him to run. Additionally, Axios has reported that Trump plans to visit Saudi Arabia in May, marking his first international trip, as indicated by sources.
Novo Nordisk's diabetes medication has been shown to reduce the risk of cardiovascular issues by 14% over a 4-year period. Additionally, the newest Alzheimer's treatments have the potential to extend patients' years of independence. Furthermore, a study indicates that lifestyle choices have a greater influence on lifespan than genetic factors.
The Academy has issued an apology for not providing sufficient support to the Oscar-winning Palestinian director. Meanwhile, Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu plans to visit Hungary, despite an arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court. Additionally, Iran has declined to engage in direct nuclear negotiations with former President Trump but remains open to indirect discussions, following Trump's previous warning to Iran that there will be bombing if Tehran rejects U.S. nuclear talks.
The UK regulatory body plans to begin granting licenses to cryptocurrency companies by the year 2026. Meanwhile, in the United States, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has concluded its investigation into Crypto.com without taking any further action. Additionally, a report suggests that Japan is considering reclassifying cryptocurrency as a financial product in an effort to reduce insider trading.
A record-breaking number of 736,000 sandhill cranes have gathered in Nebraska during the peak of spring migration, and there are no indications of bird flu, despite previous worries. In China, researchers are employing laser drones to accurately count the nation's vast population of trees, totaling 142.6 billion. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, rice farmers are demonstrating against what they perceive as misguided regulations that are contributing to rice shortages.
Samsung Electronics has introduced its AI Home concept, featuring enhanced artificial intelligence and improved screens in a variety of new product lines. Meanwhile, Google has ceased manufacturing the Nest Protect and the Nest X Yale lock. Additionally, China's supersonic jet, the C-949, aims to achieve a 50% increase in range compared to the Concorde and produce 95% less noise. Split Fiction secures its spot in gaming history by achieving 3 world records. Korea's Krafton is challenging the 25-year dominance of The Sims. Nintendo is reportedly planning a Zelda movie trilogy, with filming planned for New Zealand.
A significant breach in Oracle Cloud has led to the exposure of over 6 million records, potentially endangering more than 140,000 tenants. Additionally, 1.5 million private photographs from LGBTQ+, BDSM, and sugar dating applications have been compromised. The HTTPS certificate industry has implemented new security measures, including multi-perspective issuance corroboration and linting.
RFK Jr. has compelled Peter Marks, a leading vaccine official, to resign. In his resignation letter, Marks refutes Kennedy's falsehoods. Additionally, RFK Jr. is anticipated to dismiss the entire staff of the Office of Infectious Disease and HIV/AIDS Policy. Meanwhile, there are reports that DOJ is advocating for businesses to manage government services to the greatest extent feasible. STAT has expressed that, noting that the removal of FDA's Peter Marks has alarmed the biopharma industry, which regarded him as a supporter.
Xpeng predicts that the robotics industry will surpass the automotive sector in size within the next few years. Xpeng is making a significant investment of $413 million in a new factory located in Guangzhou, focusing on the development of flying cars. Meanwhile, SoftBank Group is considering a massive $1 trillion initiative in the United States to establish industrial parks dedicated to AI robots. Additionally, DeepSeek has increased the confidence of wealthy Chinese investors in technology stocks, according to a banker from Standard Chartered.
A letter from the industry warns that more than $13 billion in investments in solar and wind energy projects in Vietnam could be jeopardized. Meanwhile, Japan is planning to allocate an unprecedented $133 billion to enhance its resilience against earthquakes. Additionally, as the global climate warms, changes in cloud patterns are contributing to increased uncertainty about climate conditions.
Authorities in London have detained individuals responsible for organizing a protest related to Gaza at the Quaker House. Meanwhile, Haaretz has published an article discussing the situation in Gaza, where it claims that nearly every unit of the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, employs Palestinian individuals as human shields, likening them to a sub-army of forced laborers. Additionally, reports have emerged of the discovery of the bodies of aid workers who were previously missing, found in a mass grave in Gaza following Israeli military operations.
The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, has withdrawn its previous guidance regarding banks and cryptocurrency, indicating that banks are now permitted to participate in cryptocurrency activities without needing prior approval. Additionally, FTX is set to commence $11.4 billion in creditor payouts in May, following a prolonged bankruptcy process. Furthermore, former President Donald Trump has granted pardons to 3 co-founders of the BitMEX cryptocurrency exchange and a former employee.
The leaders of Harvard's Middle Eastern Studies Center are set to depart. According to an AP report, Israeli settlers were captured on video attacking a Palestinian village, yet only Palestinians were apprehended by the police. Additionally, CAIR has criticized Secretary Hegseth's kafir tattoo, labeling it as indicative of both anti-Muslim hostility and personal insecurity.
AI specialists argue that our current approach is misguided in the quest to develop artificial intelligence that closely resembles human capabilities. Meanwhile, Wired reports that OpenAI's Sora is facing significant issues with biases, including sexism, racism, and ableism. Additionally, Apple is preparing to introduce a virtual healthcare assistant through Project Mulberry as it accelerates its efforts to enhance AI-driven health services.
During the Trump administration, businesses are altering the branding of their diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives rather than abandoning them. In the United States, the Naval Academy is making moves to eliminate diversity policies related to books and admissions. Meanwhile, Columbia University's president has been replaced amid threats from Trump concerning the university's funding.
TSMC, Intel, and other leading chip manufacturers are reducing the pace of their expansion efforts in Japan and Malaysia. Meanwhile, the New York Times highlights that India is experiencing a significant hiring surge, which remains unaffected by Trump's tariffs. Additionally, the Wall Street Journal covers a conflict between Apple and Elon Musk regarding their satellite expansion strategies.
Financial Times notes that brands are spending minimal amounts on X advertisements to maintain Elon Musk's satisfaction. The Wall Street Journal reports that attempts to eliminate fake users for online advertisers have been unsuccessful, and DoubleVerify has responded to the Wall Street Journal's fact-checking and analytics report, acknowledging that both Analytics and the Wall Street Journal recognize that the report's premise and conclusions lack factual support. Additionally, YouTube has disabled ad revenue for channels featuring fake movie trailers following an investigation by Deadline. In the United States, companies like Uber and DoorDash are advocating for a policy that would exempt tips from taxation, specifically benefiting their drivers. Meanwhile, in Bangladesh, individuals known as remittance warriors have successfully sent a record amount of $3 billion back to their country. Additionally, a poll conducted in the United Kingdom reveals that young people are more concerned about work and financial issues than they are about cultural conflicts or climate change.
In the United States, far-right influencers are organizing a matchmaking event with a participation fee of $10,000 per person, aiming to increase the global population. Additionally, former President Trump has withdrawn research funding intended to safeguard pregnant women from domestic violence, citing concerns related to diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. Furthermore, a report indicates that Mike Waltz utilized the Signal messaging app for more confidential national security discussions. It is also reported that passwords and other sensitive information from high-ranking Trump officials have been discovered circulating online after a Signal leak.
Trump is taking steps to remove unionization rights for the majority of federal employees. Meanwhile, in the United States, states are quickly employing federal workers who have been laid off due to DOGE-related budget cuts. Additionally, Elon Musk has stated that Trump will target individuals who are spreading falsehoods about Tesla.
Russia and the United States are in discussions regarding projects related to rare earth metals, according to an envoy from Putin. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, expressing frustration with Vladimir Putin, has threatened to impose tariffs on Russian oil if Moscow obstructs a deal concerning Ukraine. Additionally, Trump mentioned that he had a highly productive conversation with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, during which they reached agreements on numerous issues. Pakistan intends to deport 3 million Afghan individuals this year. In the United States, numerous individuals who have been granted parole have received an email from the government advising them to leave the country immediately. A study involving Lyft drivers has uncovered instances of racial profiling by law enforcement officers. A tsunami alert has been declared following a 7.1 magnitude earthquake that struck close to Tonga. In Myanmar, a strong earthquake caused damage to over 60 historic pagodas and structures, among them the Maha Mayat Muni Pagoda. Meanwhile, in the United States, severe storms have resulted in tornadoes and hail the size of golf balls, extending from the Great Lakes region to Texas.
The New York Times highlights the increasing violence and viral spread of activities by online individuals who claim to hunt pedophiles. Additionally, the White House is experiencing criticism for using an image inspired by Studio Ghibli to depict a person convicted of dealing fentanyl. Furthermore, a reward in the form of a meme coin is being offered for information leading to the location of Joe Lowe, the mastermind behind the 1MDB scandal.
Israel plans to regain control over 25% of Gaza in an effort to compel Hamas to release hostages, according to an official statement. Hamas has reportedly reduced its casualty figures by thousands. The Independent has published a report alleging that Palestinian doctors were subjected to torture to extract confessions, highlighting severe abuse claims against Israeli soldiers.
The Trump family is putting money into a Bitcoin mining business. Coinbase experienced its most challenging quarter since the FTX collapse, as the cryptocurrency market continues to decline. Bybit has decided to close its NFT marketplace due to a decrease in trading activity.
The Wall Street Journal has reported that Mark Zuckerberg is attempting to involve Donald Trump in his efforts to challenge a recent decision by the European Union against Meta. France's antitrust authority has imposed a fine exceeding $160 million on Apple due to issues with third-party pop-ups. In China, Douyin, a platform owned by ByteDance, is providing insights into its recommendation algorithm in response to mounting regulatory scrutiny.
Significant reductions in air pollution levels in China have led to an increase in global warming. Recent research indicates that if the global temperature rises by 4 degrees Celsius, the average individual could experience a 40% decrease in their wealth. There is a potential for honeybee colonies to suffer a 70% decline by 2025, which could have severe repercussions for agricultural practices.
Researchers propose that OpenAI utilized paywalled O'Reilly books for training their AI models. The Alan Turing Institute is set to undergo a significant overhaul in an effort to bring itself up to date with modern standards. AI models have been found to overlook diseases in Black and female patients.
Amazon has introduced Nova Act, an artificial intelligence agent capable of managing a web browser. Microsoft is in the process of revamping the Windows blue screen of death, potentially transforming it into a black screen. Google is simplifying the use of end-to-end encrypted Gmail, making it accessible to everyone, including those who use Outlook.
California currently boasts a 48% increase in electric vehicle chargers compared to the number of gasoline nozzles available throughout the state. In China, flying taxis are on the verge of taking off as the first companies have successfully obtained essential licenses. Scientific American has weighed in on the matter, highlighting that major banks are discreetly making preparations for the potential catastrophic effects of global warming. Politico has reported that banks are envisioning a bleak climate future, yet they are also identifying opportunities to capitalize on it.
The New York Post has reported that since the Trump administration assumed office, it has apprehended 113,000 migrants and deported more than 100,000 individuals. The Trump Department of Justice has acknowledged that an administrative error resulted in an innocent father being wrongfully imprisoned in El Salvador. In the United States, technology companies are advising their immigrant employees who are on visas to refrain from leaving the country.
China initiates military exercises encircling Taiwan, labels its president as a parasite, while the White House cautions China regarding these war maneuvers close to Taiwan. The Philippine military leader advises soldiers to begin preparations in anticipation of a potential conflict involving Taiwan. The United States grants approval for the sale of 20 F-16 fighter jets to the Philippines, as Washington strengthens its crucial alliances in Asia. The Trump administration has established a task force to examine Harvard University's financial support following Columbia University's compliance with federal requirements. This initiative is part of a broader review by the Trump administration, which plans to scrutinize $9 billion in contracts and grants awarded to Harvard. Trump has temporarily halted numerous federal grants to Princeton University. In other news, Senator Marco Rubio has instructed U.S. diplomats to thoroughly investigate the social media accounts of student visa applicants. Germany is referencing post-Holocaust principles in its efforts to deport pro-Palestinian demonstrators.
A new type of particle known as a beauty baryon has been identified at the world's largest particle accelerator located at CERN. Physicists have uncovered evidence suggesting an asymmetry between matter and antimatter in the decay processes of baryons and beauty hadrons. Furthermore, the head of CERN has warned that without the development of a massive particle collider, Europe might lose its leadership in the field of physics to China. This warning comes as CERN reveals its plans to construct a new particle accelerator that will surpass the size of the existing Large Hadron Collider.
Roblox users have the opportunity to view Google's immersive advertisements in return for receiving in-game benefits. An analyst has valued YouTube at a potential $550 billion, dubbing it the new king of all media, as it is on the verge of surpassing Disney to become the largest media company globally. Amazon is launching a new strategy for its movies, beginning with theatrical releases.
The spotlight is on assisted driving technology following a deadly electric car accident in China, prompting Xiaomi to collaborate with authorities regarding the SU-7 EV's autonomous driving system. Dongfeng and Changan are suggesting a potential merger that might result in the formation of the globe's fifth largest automotive group. The European Union has imposed a $495.3 million fine on car manufacturers as part of an investigation into vehicle recycling practices.
In the United States, people are increasing their savings while reducing their spending in anticipation of the impending tariffs imposed by President Trump. Visa has reportedly extended an offer of approximately $100 million to Apple in an attempt to replace MasterCard as the credit card provider. Furthermore, TSMC has forecasted a significant economic impact of $2.5 trillion as a result of the development and implementation of 2 nanometers technology.
The ChatGPT free image generator has garnered the attention of 1 million users within just 1 hour of its launch. Runway has introduced a new AI video model that aims to ensure consistent character representation. In a related development, Microsoft has closed its AI laboratory in Shanghai, indicating a more significant retreat from its operations in China.
A new California ballot initiative, known as the Luigi Mangione Act, aims to increase the difficulty for insurance companies to refuse medical coverage. In the United States, the Department of Justice has announced its intention to pursue the death penalty for Luigi Mangione, who is accused of murdering the CEO of United Healthcare. Following the rejection of its third bankruptcy settlement, Johnson & Johnson has declared its decision to face talc-related lawsuits in court, after a U.S. judge declined to approve J&J's proposed $10 billion settlement for baby powder cases. China, Japan, and South Korea have reached an agreement to address U.S. tariffs and are looking to enhance their trade relations. The Chinese foreign minister has expressed a commitment to maintaining a friendship with Russia, stating, "Friends forever, never enemies." Additionally, the United States has imposed sanctions on officials from China and Hong Kong for their involvement in targeting activists overseas. BlackRock has received approval to operate as a cryptocurrency asset firm in the UK, and its CEO, Larry Fink, has suggested that Bitcoin might eventually replace the dollar as the global reserve currency due to rising national debt. In a disturbing development within the cryptocurrency world, a trader's suicide on XLive has been turned into a meme coin, highlighting the darker aspects of the industry. Trade groups in the UK are calling on the government to focus on cryptocurrency as a key strategic sector.
The Oxford Dictionary has included the Filipino term jijal, which describes an overwhelming feeling of cuteness. In Japan, the Sukiya restaurant chain plans to shut down almost 2,000 locations following the discovery of a rat and a cockroach in one of their dishes. Microsoft has employed artificial intelligence to identify vulnerabilities in the Grub 2, U-Boot, and Bearbox bootloaders. A recent study indicates that the actual population of Earth could exceed the officially reported 8.2 billion people. Research in pedestrian physics demonstrates that the chaotic behavior of crowds is triggered by small changes in angles. Furthermore, single-cell immune aging clocks have uncovered significant differences in how individuals age during infections and vaccinations. In the United States, Senators Mike Lee and Tommy Tuberville have put forth a legislative proposal aimed at eliminating the Transportation Security Administration, TSA. In the Middle East, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia are collaborating on a unified bid to host the Rugby World Cup in the year 2035. Air Canada has reported a decrease of 10% in bookings from the United States, attributing this decline to the ongoing trade tensions between the two nations.
Zack Snyder has teamed up with the UFC and Turkey Owlshik to create a new film titled Brawler. The CEO of Netflix has declared that movie theaters are no longer relevant, questioning what message consumers are sending. John Boyega has expressed that Star Wars is so predominantly white that the presence of a black character is considered significant, noting that toxic fans are comfortable with black characters playing supporting roles but resist them being portrayed as heroes.
A study by the People's Liberation Army suggests that Chinese submarines equipped with lasers have the potential to disable Starlink satellites. Russian President Vladimir Putin has announced plans to draft an additional 160,000 Russian citizens to support the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. The United States Department of Defense is set to reassess the physical fitness requirements for military personnel in combat roles.
According to a report by the Washington Post, it has been revealed that Waltz and his team utilized Gmail for conducting government communications, as stated by officials. Elon Musk made a visit to the CIA to engage in discussions regarding potential downsizing efforts. Furthermore, Donald Trump has hinted that Elon Musk's Doge might be closed down much sooner than its originally anticipated date. Sweden is reintroducing books and handwriting exercises into its schools, which have been heavily reliant on technology. New York is considering implementing a statewide prohibition on cell phones in educational institutions. Hong Kong plans to prohibit flavored smoking products next year, beginning with those that are not menthol flavored.
Trump issues executive order aimed at combating ticket scalpers and their automated systems. Trump establishes an investment office to manage funds allocated for the CHIPS Act. The New York Times discloses that a prosecutor affiliated with Trump is attempting to weaken Biden's pardons.
Val Kilmer, known for his roles in Top Gun and as Batman, has passed away at the age of 65. The actor was renowned for his passionate and intense acting style. In other news, the Snow White film has faced significant criticism on IMDb, with accusations of a smear campaign involving Rachel Zegler. Tom Holland's upcoming Spider-Man 4 has been officially titled Spider-Man: Brand New Day, with filming scheduled to begin this summer.
The military regime in Myanmar has discharged warning shots at a convoy delivering aid to those affected by the earthquake, as various organizations attempt to reach the victims. In a related development, the United States has proposed naming a street in Washington, D.C., as Jimmy Lai Way to honor the imprisoned media tycoon, during a speech by the Hong Kong Trade Office. Andreessen Horowitz is reportedly in discussions to assist in purchasing the shares held by TikTok's Chinese owners. Von der Leyen has committed to employing every available strategy to counter Trump's retaliatory tariffs. Britain remains optimistic that an economic agreement could lead to the reversal of these tariffs. The Telegraph expresses concern, suggesting that Trump is planning the largest tax increase in global history. The New Republic criticizes, stating that Trump's actions are likely to damage the economy, a pattern they attribute to Republicans. Goldman Sachs warns that Trump's tariffs could cause inflation to rise, hinder economic growth, and increase the likelihood of a recession.
TikTok is discontinuing its platform TikTok Notes, which was designed to compete with Instagram. Substack is introducing a feature in its app that resembles TikTok's video feed. The BBC plans to engage in discussions with AI providers and increase its investment in TikTok.
David Fincher is set to direct Brad Pitt in a Netflix sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, based on a script by Quentin Tarantino. Keanu Reeves will unexpectedly return to the John Wick universe in both Chapter 5 and an animated prequel. Furthermore, the cast for the Beatles biopics has been announced, with all 4 films directed by Sam Mendes scheduled for release in 2028. Norway is being encouraged to lift its prohibition on its $1.8 trillion wealth fund, investing in companies that produce weapons. U.S. officials.
A majority of Americans report being well informed about the happenings related to the Trump administration. Cory Booker has set a new Senate record by delivering a speech that lasted 25 hours, which also garnered over 350 million likes during a live broadcast on TikTok. The hashtag Obama2028 has gained popularity on X, coinciding with Donald Trump's mention of a potential third-term candidacy.
A massive claw discovered in Mongolia has been identified as belonging to a previously unknown species of dinosaur, with only 2 fingers. In Brazil, A velvet ant has been found to be so dark that it is considered ultra-black. Geoscientists have made the discovery that North America is experiencing significant water leakage from beneath its surface. A new photothermocatalytic reactor, along with a selective solar absorber, has been developed for the sustainable production of fuel through the process of ethylene oligomerization, in other words, plain sunlight used to generate jet fuel.
The FDA is anticipating a reduction in the number of inspections for food and drugs. The FDA is anticipating a reduction in the number of inspections for food and drugs as a result of layoffs, according to officials. In the United States, multiple federal agencies have initiated a deferred resignation program to motivate employees to resign from their positions. The White House has stated that Musk will remain in his role until he finishes his mission related to Doge.
Amazon and the founder of OnlyFans have submitted final offers to purchase TikTok as the deadline in the United States approaches. TikTok for Artists is being evaluated as President Trump considers a proposal for a TikTok America. Additionally, statistics reveal that more than 90% of student suicides in Hong Kong involved individuals aged 12 and older.
Beijing urges HSBC to assist in enhancing relations between China and the United Kingdom, as well as to elevate Hong Kong's reputation. The acquisition of Discover by Capital One has successfully passed a review by the Department of Justice. Denmark's Maersk has acquired the Panama Canal Railway Company.
A 55-year-old underwater camera trap, originally set to capture evidence of the Loch Ness Monster, has been discovered. Ancient DNA analysis has uncovered the existence of a previously unknown human tribe that once inhabited the Green Sahara. Furthermore, Amazon is set to launch its inaugural batch of Kuiper satellites on April 9.
Oracle has informed its clients about a second recent hacking incident, during which login credentials were compromised. It has also been reported that Oracle attempted to conceal this significant cybersecurity breach from its customers using the Oracle SaaS service. TikTok is facing a potential fine of €500 million due to its data export practices between the EU and China. Furthermore, European law enforcement has successfully dismantled KidFlix, described as one of the world's largest platforms for pedophiles, through a collaborative operation.
Ford plans to provide employee pricing to all customers in the United States for the upcoming 2 months as new auto tariffs are implemented, leading to an increase in car prices. According to a former Ford CEO, this price hike is simply a matter of mathematics. It has been reported that Tesla currently holds $200 million in Cybertruck inventory. Furthermore, Xiaomi's electric vehicle division is set to deliver over 29,000 cars in March 2025.
The renowned Binoculars building in Los Angeles is now available for purchase. In New York, a luxurious quadplex penthouse located on Billionaires Row is being offered for a staggering $110 million. A leading insurance company has issued a warning that the ongoing climate crisis is poised to dismantle capitalism. Furthermore, a study has revealed a 7,000-year trend indicating that El Niño events are becoming increasingly frequent. Greece has committed to allocating $27 billion for a comprehensive overhaul of its armed forces, focusing on advanced high-tech warfare technology. In the United States, Army planners are considering significant reductions, potentially cutting up to 90,000 active-duty soldiers from their ranks. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are planning to establish a combined military force to combat the ongoing jihadist insurgency in their region.
The Department of Defense in the United States has launched an investigation into Pete Hegseth's utilization of the Signal messaging app. It is reported that Waltz's team established at least 20 Signal group chats to manage crises globally. The European Commission is targeting end-to-end encryption and has suggested that Europol should be developed into an EU equivalent of the FBI. 5 VPN applications available in the App Store have been found to have connections to the Chinese military.
An Israeli military operation resulted in the deaths of numerous individuals at a shelter located in Gaza City, according to official statements. Hungary has announced its intention to exit the International Criminal Court during a visit by Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. Axios has disclosed that Jared Kushner's Abraham Accords Institute is set to merge with the Heritage Foundation.
The United States has implemented a prohibition on its government employees stationed in China from engaging in any romantic or sexual relationships with Chinese nationals. Radio Free Europe has reported that the United States has deactivated a satellite that was previously used to transmit Russian broadcasts. Furthermore, Standard & Poor's has warned that the tariffs imposed by former President Trump could potentially lead to an increase in bad loans in China, reaching levels not seen since the pandemic.
GPT 4.5 successfully completes Turing test with Persona. AI's conversational skills achieve unprecedented levels. In commemoration of Microsoft's 50th anniversary, Bill Gates has made available the original source code of BASIC for the Altair 8080. Indian technology startups valued at $100 billion are expected to pursue initial public offerings by the year 2027.
The Trump administration has dismissed the director of the National Security Agency, following a report by the Washington Post that a far-right activist had advocated for his removal. The Hill has noted that Trump has made history by granting a pardon to a corporation. The White House has decided to delay the garden tours scheduled for Saturday due to anticipated anti-Trump protests.
Canada has introduced restricted retaliatory actions against the United States, labeling President Trump's decision as a tragic event. In response to the unjustified tariffs imposed by the U.S., Canada plans to impose a 25% tax on American automobiles, as announced by Carney. Japan expresses significant worry over the U.S.'s reciprocal tariffs and insists on their removal. French President Macron urges European Union companies to halt their investments in the United States.
Trump's recent tariffs have been described as creating a $1 trillion barrier to international trade for the U.S. economy. Trump has expressed willingness to reduce tariffs if presented with exceptional offers. The European Union plans to focus on U.S. online services in response to Trump's tariffs, as stated by France. In China, Pinduoduo is set to invest over $13 billion across 3 years to aid merchants. Bulgaria's ruling administration manages to withstand a no-confidence motion initiated by a political faction aligned with Russia. Russia has prohibited Elton John's AIDS Foundation, citing the need to protect spiritual and moral values. Additionally, the pro-Russian leader of Bosnian Serbs, Dodik, appears in Moscow while facing legal charges in Bosnia.
The Michael Jackson biopic is expected to be divided into 2 films, which will result in a postponed release date. A live-action adaptation of How to Train Your Dragon 2 is set to hit theaters in 2027. Furthermore, Bruce Springsteen plans to release 7 albums featuring previously unreleased music, titled Tracks 2, The Lost Albums.
Bonobos employ a form of syntax that was previously believed to be exclusive to humans. Marine microorganisms have been found to possess novel gene clusters that facilitate hydrogen production. The cells that cover your skin and organs have the ability to produce electricity when they are damaged, which could lead to innovative approaches for wound treatment.
The United States Department of Energy is extending an invitation to companies interested in developing artificial intelligence data centers on the grounds of Los Alamos National Laboratory and other federal properties. Google is reportedly in advanced negotiations with CoreWeave to lease NVIDIA's AI servers. The information has remarked on NVIDIA's predicament, as Chinese companies have swiftly placed orders for $16 billion worth of new AI chips.
Research indicates that an artificial sweetener commonly used in diet beverages may be associated with alterations in the brain that lead to heightened appetite. The United States Supreme Court has mostly supported the Food and Drug Administration's decision to reject applications for flavored vaping products. A challenging work environment might be subtly hindering initiatives aimed at boosting birth rates.
Intel and TSMC have recently engaged in discussions about establishing a joint venture in the chip-making industry. In a related development, OpenAI has reported that users of ChatGPT have created more than 700 million images within a single week. The use of AI bots has led to a significant increase in bandwidth usage at Wikimedia, with a surge of 50%.
Advertising is prohibited on all websites that are blocked in Russia, effective from September. Spotify informs advertisers that users are actively engaging with the app rather than passively scrolling. According to the New York Times, QVC has introduced its inaugural 24/7 live shopping streams on TikTok.
Mark Zuckerberg is actively engaging in discussions with Donald Trump to resolve the antitrust lawsuit filed against Meta. Concurrently, a U.S. Senate committee has initiated an investigation into Meta's strategies to penetrate the Chinese market. Brazil has launched an inquiry into Apple regarding its app tracking transparency policy, following a complaint from Meta. The New York Times has reported that the European Union is preparing significant penalties for Elon Musk's company, X.
Amazon has introduced a new AI agent designed to browse and purchase items from various third-party websites on your behalf. OpenAI and Anthropic are engaged in a competition to attract college students by offering them free access to AI technology. A DeepMind program has demonstrated its AI prowess by mastering the game Minecraft, successfully locating diamonds without any prior instruction.
Nature has announced that the Trump administration instructed the National Institutes of Health to conduct research on feelings of regret experienced by transgender individuals following their transition. YouTube has updated its hate speech policy to exclude gender identity from the list of protected categories. The Ultimate Fighting Championship has entered into a comprehensive sponsorship agreement with Meta, which is expected to strengthen the relationship between Mark Zuckerberg and Dana White.
The 2025 MTV Video Music Awards will be broadcast on CBS for the first time, while also being simulcast on MTV. The Simpsons, Family Guy, and Bob's Burgers have been renewed for an additional 4 seasons, and American Dad is set to make a comeback on Fox. Furthermore, the NHL has secured a $7.7 billion agreement with Rogers, which surpasses the previous media rights contract by more than double the amount they agreed upon 10 years ago.
President Donald J. Trump announced a national emergency to enhance the United States' competitive advantage, safeguard its sovereignty, and bolster its national and economic security. He stated that foreign trade and economic practices have led to this emergency, and his directive includes imposing tariffs to improve the U.S.'s global economic standing and protect American workers. Treasury Secretary Bessent urged countries not to retaliate following the Comprehensive Liberation Day tariffs. In the U.S., the Senate criticized Trump's tariffs, with some Republicans voting to stop taxes on Canadian imports. Princeton University is contemplating the issuance of bonds on the same day that the federal government temporarily halts the distribution of grants. The Trump administration has delivered a list of demands to Harvard University, emphasizing the need to safeguard federal funds. Brown University finds itself under scrutiny from the Trump administration, following Columbia University, and is at risk of losing $510 million in federal grants.
The TikTok agreement has been temporarily suspended due to China's objections regarding tariffs, according to sources. President Trump has extended the deadline for TikTok to divest, mentioning that China is unhappy about the tariffs. In response to Trump's trade war, China has imposed a 34% reciprocal tariff on imports of U.S. goods. Furthermore, China has retaliated by implementing export controls on essential rare earths, cutting off U.S. supplies of minerals crucial for defense and clean tech. Trump commented that China played it wrong, which led to a stock market crash. Federal Reserve Chair Powell has warned that tariff-induced inflation could be more persistent, while Trump has urged him to lower interest rates.
China has developed the world's first RISC-V chip with a size of just 1 nanometer, utilizing 2D materials. OpenAI has engaged in discussions about acquiring the AI device startup founded by Johnny Ive and Sam Altman. Air India has collaborated with Apple to introduce AirTag-based technology for tracking lost luggage.
The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, have issued a warning about the fast flux technique, which is being employed by hackers to conceal malicious servers.
California, under Governor Newsom, intends to continue engaging in global trade independently. Indonesia's minister states that the country will not take retaliatory measures against Trump's tariff.
Disney showcased footage from Avatar 3, Fantastic Four, Elio, and Tron Ares at CinemaCon. The Las Vegas Sphere revealed plans for an immersive screening of The Wizard of Oz. The United States is anticipated to host the Women's World Cup in 2031, potentially alongside other CONCACAF countries.
Israel has eliminated a Hamas leader in Lebanon, adding to the strain on the ongoing ceasefire. Inspectors have indicated that over 100 chemical weapons locations might still exist in Syria. The New York Times has published a report featuring a video that depicts aid workers being killed in Gaza amidst intense gunfire, even as their ambulance lights were flashing. The Writers Guild of America has approved a fresh 3-year agreement with CBS News, ensuring important protections related to artificial intelligence. In New York, lawsuits filed by U.S. authors against OpenAI and Microsoft have been merged with similar actions taken by newspapers. The United Nations has issued a warning that artificial intelligence might impact 40% of jobs and exacerbate inequality among countries.
A report indicates that Russian espionage devices have been detected monitoring the movements of Britain's nuclear submarines within the waters of the United Kingdom. It has been suggested that the White House attributes the signal scandal to an auto-suggested contact on an iPhone. Furthermore, the Sahel Alliance has decided to withdraw its ambassadors from Algiers following the incident of a drone being downed.
Anthropic asserts that reasoning models often do not express their true thoughts. DeepSeek has introduced a novel AI reasoning technique, generating excitement for its upcoming advanced model. Meta has revealed the Llama 4 series of large language models, including Maverick and Scout. They assert that the Maverick model, with 400 billion parameters, leads in all benchmarks. Furthermore, they mention that a 2 trillion parameter model, known as Behemoth, is currently undergoing training.
A previously operational coal-fired power plant in the United States is set to be transformed into a large-scale gas-powered facility dedicated to artificial intelligence and data centers. A study conducted by Texas A&M University reveals that after 120 years of conservation efforts, the Yellowstone bison population has reduced to a single breeding group. The Trump administration has issued an order allowing logging in half of the country's national forests. The SEC has announced that stable coins such as USDT and USDC, which are considered covered, are not classified as securities. Consequently, there is no requirement for registration when minting or redeeming these digital currencies. In a viral video, Jim Cramer has forecasted a stock market crash reminiscent of the 1987 Black Monday, attributing it to the tariffs imposed by Trump. Chinese markets are preparing for a potentially turbulent Monday as trading resumes following a series of reciprocal tariffs with the U.S. Trump's leading economic advisor has stated that 50 countries have expressed interest in negotiating tariffs. Goldman Sachs has reduced its growth prediction for Chinese stocks in 2025 due to the influence of Trump's tariffs. Just 6 days prior, the financial institution also adjusted its forecast for Europe's Stoxx 600 index, citing the same tariff impact. The UK's Jaguar Land Rover has decided to halt shipments to the United States because of these tariffs. In the US, Besant has described the tariffs as a one-time price adjustment. A court in China is conducting an auction for 100 tons of live crocodiles, with the starting bid set at $550,000, but without including delivery. In Philadelphia, the zoo has celebrated the hatching of its first Galapagos tortoise babies, marking a significant event as the endangered tortoise, who is approximately 100 years old, becomes a first-time mother. In Britain's second-largest city, rats that are reportedly larger than cats are being seen as garbage collectors go on strike.
According to AP, federal officials are discreetly ending the legal residency status of certain international college students. It is reported that in South Korea, intense academic pressures begin as early as kindergarten. Furthermore, a teenager from New Jersey has successfully campaigned to have users of the Notify app face imprisonment and fines reaching up to $30,000.
People in Spain are taking to the streets in 40 different cities to demonstrate against the escalating housing crisis. In Hong Kong, residential landlords are receiving backing from employees at hedge funds and cryptocurrency firms, according to Savills. The death toll has increased to 33 due to severe flooding caused by heavy rains in the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo.
During Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit, India and Sri Lanka have entered into agreements focusing on defense and energy, which are expected to enhance their bilateral relations. In Armenia, the president has signed a law that marks the beginning of the country's journey towards joining the European Union. Klaus Schwab, the founder of the World Economic Forum, has announced his decision to step down from his position as the chair of the trustees.
The United States is in discussions with the Democratic Republic of the Congo regarding a minerals agreement, according to a statement from a Trump administration official. In the Central African Republic, large crowds have gathered to protest against the presence of Russian Wagner mercenaries. The Reuters Institute at Oxford University has remarked that as the Trump administration curtails the voice of America, Russia and China are taking advantage of the situation to influence and transform Africa's news landscape.
Germany is contemplating the removal of its 1,200 Musk dismissing the Saturday demonstrators as paid puppets. In Paris, supporters of Marine Le Pen gathered, transforming a protest into a powerful display of populist strength. Le Pen criticized what she called a witch hunt and pledged to continue her fight at the rally. Trump and Vance expressed their support for Le Pen following her conviction.
Microsoft introduces Copilot Vision, an AI tool designed to assist users in real-world scenarios, available on both Windows and mobile platforms. OpenAI announces the upcoming release of O3, although it will postpone the launch of GPT-5. Midjourney unveils V7, marking its first new AI image model in almost a year.
Mavoglurant has been shown to decrease cocaine consumption in individuals suffering from cocaine use disorder during a Phase 2 clinical trial. Research indicates that newborns exposed to antibiotics may experience
are deeply concerned about being labeled as foreign agents. A court has mandated that Wikimedia take down content from India that is considered